Hey, Rob Nieves here with Skilled Pastor, and today I want to talk about the unintended problem that larger churches have created for smaller churches. So mega churches, when you go to a mega church, first of all, everything is beautiful. It's a beautiful big building. The pastors are usually pretty decent looking people, right? There's a great worship band. The music is awesome. Everything is done in such excellence. Their volunteers are like excited to be able to volunteer there because after all, hey, I volunteer at a really big church. So this is a cool thing. It's a status thing sometimes. So, people get to be a part of that and people want to be a part of that. But there's a problem that I think some mega churches unintentionally, I don't think it's been intentional, they have created for smaller churches. And this is the problem. The problem is that many people attend these larger churches as spectators. They don't necessarily volunteer. Although you see a lot of volunteers, that's only because they have a lot of people. But when you go down to percentages, you realize it's not a large percentage of the people actually volunteering. So you get a lot of people that are just spectators, that they're just coming into the church for, can I call it, the spiritual show? They're coming for the spiritual encouraging word. So they're coming to listen to good music. And the problem with that it creates for smaller churches is that now it puts smaller churches into a position where they have to, can I say it, compete with the larger church? But here's the problem. They can't compete with the larger church. Why? They don't have the staff. They don't have the money. They don't have the resources. So now what happens? Now smaller churches have to try and mimic what the larger churches are doing with less people, with less money. Now what happens then? A lot of the people that go to the smaller churches are expecting the same things that they would get from a larger church, right? And when they don't get it, they say, hey, why don't I just go to the larger church? They have a better children's ministry. They have a better worship band. They have a better looking pastor, maybe even. They have just everything is better. So why am I here when I could be there, right? So now what happens with the smaller churches? Well, the smaller churches don't have the staff, don't have the pastoral lineup there, right? They don't have all these things. So the unintentional consequence is that everything is now left to the pastor and sometimes the pastor's family, right? So this is unintended because now pastors of smaller churches, they don't want to do everything on their own. There's a lot of load. But the issue is the culture that we've created in our society that says, hey, listen, the church has to provide everything. And you don't have to do anything. You just have to show up on a Sunday. Now, where does that mindset actually come from? Does it come from the smaller church? Is it the small church pastor's fault that people are thinking like this? I don't think so. I can tell you for sure that we're constantly preaching, hey, get involved. Hey, do more. Hey, let's make this happen. This is a body that functions together. But see, people, because they go to the larger church, they see what the larger church is doing, and they say, oh, the large church is doing it right. The small church is doing it wrong. The small church doesn't have the resources. So I don't know what the solution is, but frankly, I can't say, hey, larger churches, stop doing what you're doing, because I don't think that's necessarily right. But at the same time, I do say, hey, maybe larger churches can help out smaller churches, maybe sending out teams. I mean, you've got plenty of singers just waiting to sing sometimes. How about saying, hey, why don't you go and help out that smaller church? If you're a large church pastor, a mega church pastor, hey, why don't you find a smaller church in your community that maybe you can bless with some talent, with some people that are in your church? Just a thought. But again, this is an unintentional consequence of being a mega church versus a smaller church, right? And if you attend a smaller church, can I say, hey, listen, don't leave everything to your pastors. Don't leave everything to his family. Listen, be thoughtful, be mindful. Hey, what are the things that have to happen around here? We have to clean, we have to pay bills, we have to, usher people. We need to help out with children's ministry. All these things. If you attend a smaller church, get involved. It's so important that you get involved and that you be a support to the ministry. And here's the biggest problem of all, I think we spend so much time pointing fingers at pastors and saying, Pastor, you're doing it wrong. And Pastor, why aren't you scaling? Why aren't you using volunteers? And sometimes the pastors like I want to, I want people to volunteer. I want people to get involved, and they're preaching it and they're doing it. They're doing the best they can. And thank you, small church pastors, for doing what you're doing. Listen, it's time that we realize, hey, I think megachurches have really unintentionally, and I'm not anti-megachurch, I'm just saying, I think sometimes unintentionally have hurt smaller churches because they're doing everything at a scale that smaller churches just can't do it. And the bigger problem is the culture that they're creating in the minds of people at large. Everyone is going to church thinking I can be a spectator. I don't have to be a participator. I don't have to get involved at all. So I wanted to leave that thought with you. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Come on, let me know in the comments below. Is there anything else you think that maybe I'm missing out of this conversation? But I would love to hear what you have to say about this. I really do believe that this is an unintentional consequence of larger churches and some of the problems that they're creating for smaller churches. How do we fix it? I don't know. Do you have some ideas? Let us know in the comments below. Again, if you like to get some free resources, go ahead, check out the comments below. I'm sorry, not the comments. Check out the links that I'll share there below. And I hope that this helps. I'll see you next time.